Let's start to unravel some of the mystery of those sine, cos, and tan buttons on our calculator when we use them to find the length of a side, specifically of a right angle triangle in this clip. So keep your scientific calculator handy because a little later I'm going to get you to try a practice problem over on this side and I'll post the solution. So let's have a look at the problem I'll show you how to do. We've been given a right angle triangle that looks like this. And we're being asked to find the length of side A. Side A is this little guy right here, runs from C to B. Now keep in mind that when you're using the trigonometric ratios, sine, cos, or tan, in the way I'm about to show you, you can only do it for a right angle triangle. So I always need to make sure I see this symbol somewhere in the triangle and then I know I'm safe. So the first thing we want to do is label all three sides, opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Now, since I'm trying to find the length of this side, I'm going to be working with its matching angle. You could think of them like a pair. For every side, there's a matching angle. And it's a lowercase a, so over here is the capital A, so it's the matching angle. So we're going to position ourselves right here in this corner. And from here, we'll try and figure out which one's the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse sides. First, the hypotenuse. Well, this corner of the red square is pointing over here to this line, and that's going to be our hypotenuse. So I will label it hypotenuse. Now the opposite, we're standing here, if you can imagine that. This line is the one that's not touching that corner, so it's the opposite. And finally, the one that's labeled 26 centimeters, that's our adjacent. Now that I've got all these labeled, I can move on to step 2. SOHCAHTOA, our three trigonometric ratios. You can think of each one of these ratios as a tool. And when you're trying to find the length of a missing side, you need to figure out which one of these tools works best for you. So for example, sine, or SO in SOHCAHTOA, that means sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So if I start here, opposite over hypotenuse, that's not going to work very well for me because this hypotenuse is blank. I don't know the length of it. Ka in SOHCAHTOA is cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent, I have a number, 26 centimeters, but again, the hypotenuse is blank, and also, I'm trying to find the length of this side, and cos doesn't even have that A in the equation, so that's no good. So finally, it must be TOA. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So starting here, opposite over adjacent. Yeah, that'll work out pretty well. It's got the variable I need, and it's got a given number, 26 centimeters. So I'm going to go with tan. So to set up my ratio, I'll say tan, and then I need the angle that's in that corner, which is 36, is equal to opposite over adjacent. The opposite I don't know, that's the A I'm trying to solve for. The adjacent I do know, it's 26. And there we go, I've set up the ratio. Now although this looks kind of strange, I can treat it like any other equation. My variable is right here, so I need to isolate it. I'm going to imagine that there's a 1 under the tan 36. Now it's a matter of getting that A by itself. So I have a fraction equaling a fraction. So this sounds like a job for cross multiplication. When I cross multiply, I'm going to get 26 times tan 36. The tan 36 stays together, so I'll put that in a bracket. And that's going to be equal to 1 times A, which is just A. So I've got A by itself. Now I just need to solve for this part. To do that, I'm going to need my scientific calculator. So let me bring in my trusty scientific calculator, and I'm just going to punch in what I see right here. 26, and then I'm looking for the tan button. Usually you can find the trig ratios in groups of 3, sine, cos, and tan, and I'm looking for this button right there, tan. I'll hit that once, and I'll punch in 36, and then enter, and there I go. I get an answer of 18.89. I'm just going to round that to 19, we'll say. So my final line, I'll just say A is equal to 19, and we're talking about centimeters here, so I'll put the units of centimeters. And there we go. I just used one of the trig ratios to find the length of the side of a triangle. A is 19 centimeters. Now, a couple things to note here. Some calculators work a little differently than others. Some calculators you need to put in the 36 first and then hit the tan button to get your answer. So I suggest, if you have your calculator handy, you try to play with this value until you get an answer of 19, and then you'll figure out how your calculator works. And now it's time for you to practice. Let's see if you can find the length of side A for this triangle. Just follow the steps I showed you on the left, and I'll post the solution when you're ready. So if everything worked out for you, you should get an answer of A equals 8 centimeters, and that's the length of this side. And we found that by first labeling our hypotenuse, the opposite, and adjacent sides. Then we chose tan, and we did a cross multiplication. And finally, we entered this into our calculator, and A equals 8 centimeters.